Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining the BC Self Advocacy Foundation, Community Venture Society, Inclusion BC, and the Port Moody Heritage Society for the virtual launch of our interactive exhibit, Inclusion, the Journey to Community. I'm Carla Verscher with Inclusion BC. I would like to start by acknowledging that Inclusion BC's head office is located in the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Kakadite First Nations, from where I'm joining you today. I would also like to acknowledge our staff members and each of you live and work on the over 200 unceded territories of Indigenous nations across our province. Just a couple of reminders. Please keep your mic on mute to reduce the amount of background noise. If you have a question or comment, please put them in the chat. Our chat monitor today is Erica, and she'll be following the chat and bringing up your questions or comments. If there's time at the end to address them, we will. If not, we'll take your name and your email address and make sure we follow up after the session. Claire is our technical support today. If you're experiencing difficulties, please contact her directly on the chat, or in the reminder email you received, there was reference to her phone number if you need to call her directly. As I said, the webinar is being recorded and will be posted on the Inclusion BC's virtual learning series website. For closed captioning, please select the bottom marked CC live transcription. And I would like to get us started with a few messages of greeting.
Thank you to Community Venture Society and Inclusion BC for inviting me to bring greetings from Ottawa. As the NDP critic for disability inclusion, I am so happy to see this exhibition launching on the International Day for Persons with Disabilities. You can count on my support to continue to raise your voices in Ottawa to ensure we get a barrier-free society. Congratulations to everyone involved in today's events and for this amazing and important exhibition.
Hey everyone, my name is Rick Lumack and I'm the MLA for Port Moody Coquitlam. And I'd like to welcome you to Inclusion, the Journey to Community. This is an interactive exhibition that's going to be showcased at the Port Moody Station Museum from now until summer of 2022. And it highlights a lesser known part of our history, the challenging journey that people with disabilities have had to navigate in Canada. I'd like to thank everyone that had contributed to putting this project together and for your ongoing work in fostering inclusivity in our communities. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Councillor Diana Dilworth, and I'm so proud to be representing Port Moody, a community that has made inclusion a priority. I'm also very proud of the Port Moody Heritage Society in working with community partners and helping people in our community tell their story, the journey to being part of a community. Come on down and welcome to the virtual launch, and feel free to drop into the Heritage Museum anytime in person and see the event for yourself.
Welcome to the Port Moody Station Museum. My name is Kirsten Gerles, a director at the Port Moody Heritage Society. We welcome you to view the Inclusion exhibit. It's important because it's part of our journey toward inclusion and diversity at the Station Museum. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Linda King, and I'm with Community Venture Society. I'd like to give you all a bit of background around how this project came to be. Marcus Farner, the Port Moody Station Museum curator and manager, reached out to Community Ventures late last year with the idea to collaborate to create an exhibition that would showcase the lived experience of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities in this community. We at CVS thought this would be an amazing opportunity, and we're grateful to Marcus for recognizing and understanding the value of sharing the story of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities in their long path from institutions to living in community. Community Ventures was on board right away, but we also knew to do justice to the exhibition, we needed Inclusion BC and the BC Self Advocacy Foundation to be part of the collaboration as they hold the history and lived experience. It has been a wonderful partnership, and I'm proud to say how it all came together. Thank you for everyone's contribution and commitment to the project. I'll pass it back to you now, Carla.
Now I'm not muted. I'm sorry, I meant to introduce you, but realized I was muted.
Oh, no worries.
First technical glitch of the day. Today is International Day of Persons with Disabilities. And before we move to the museum, I want to congratulate our very own Michael McClellan. Michael is a board of directors at Inclusion BC, and he co-chairs the Self Advocate Advisory. And today he was appointed to the Provincial Accessibility Committee, the committee that will oversee the development and implementation of the Accessible BC Act. We could not be happier to see his name on the list this morning. And Michael, please know that you have an entire community that will support you in this new role. Michael, did you want to say a few words?
Okay.
When I found out on Wednesday, it didn't sink in till this morning.
Audio now unmuted.
Oops.
Patrick
Okay. Sorry, guys. When I found out on Wednesday,
Crystal,
it didn't sink in till this morning when the announcement came out.
from Gina.
And so for me, it's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster, but
From Liddy.
I feel very excited. I'm looking forward to this experience in representing people in the community living sector, as well as people with developmental disabilities.
Josephine.
This has been a big roller coaster for me, and I am looking so forward to the next few years representing us all and hoping I can get what is necessary in this committee. I want to thank the people. Thank the people who have backed me in this.
Leslie.
And I'm looking so forward and excited.
Sherry.
And I will represent us all very, very well, as best as I can in the next few years.
Well, Michael, what an amazing thing to celebrate today. And you can probably see all the love and support coming up through the chat. So know that we all have your back on this one.
I'm not really hearing it because I keep hitting the button.
Oh, well, we'll make sure we save the chat so you can read it all after, because there's been lots popping up.
If somebody can send me just that part of the chat, that would be appreciated.
Fantastic. Well, what an amazing thing to celebrate today. And as you can see, I'm bouncing back between two screens, so sorry if that's just distracting for people. Again, just Michael, huge congratulations, and we're so proud of you, so very proud of you. There's a bit of a transition here to kind of what this exhibit was really intended to do, which was really highlight the journey of people from institutions to communities. So for many of you that are joining us today, you know that the institutionalization of people with developmental and intellectual disabilities in BC began over 100 years ago, originally at the asylum in Victoria, and then with the transition to the large institution in Woodlands here in New Westminster. The era of our large institutions ended on October 21st, 1996, when Woodlands and the last two residents moved to their new homes and community. With their departure, BC became the first province in Canada to close all of its institutions for people with intellectual disabilities. The exhibit today is designed to share that history through a series of news clippings, interactive elements, and borrowed pieces from the inside out. And Erica will put a link to From the Inside Out in the chat. We want you to join us today for this virtual guided tour by former residents of Woodlands and community members who are celebrated today for their contributions to their community in Port Moody. We will now move to the Port Moody Museum for the virtual guided tour that will begin with Richard McDonald from the BC Self Advocacy Foundation and Marcus from the Port Moody Museum. Cross your fingers. We're going to transition.
Yes. Well, we transitioned while it works.
Oh, I think we need to change the spotlight.
All right. Okay, I think the spotlight is on me. Well, first I want to acknowledge that we are on the unceded and traditional lands of the Coquitlam, Musqueam, Stolo, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. I'm so happy that this exhibition has come to reality now. My name is Marcus Farner. I'm a curator manager here at the Port Moody Station Museum. And as Linda mentioned, I had the idea that, this is a part of history that's been always with us. It is a part of history that has always been neglected. And I think that's a big job of a museum to point out of often our problematic history in the past. And then with the connection to CVS, Inclusion, BC, and the foundation we were able to extend the line from the past all the way to the future, and maybe hopefully kind of start a dialogue and maybe hopefully also point out errors in the past and a way to go to the future. And I don't want to spend more time talking about it because I want Richard McDonald and Tina to introduce this exhibition and walk you through it. And then we'll have a few other really great things in line for you. Here you go. Take them away.
All right, Richard, here we stand in front of this display case, and there's some, and you're all locked up there. In your walker, and here we've got the display case, and we've got several images of some of the artists that were involved in Inside Out. Can you tell us a bit about what we're looking at here and what you remember from the Inside Out exhibit?
Well, there was 28 people that were involved when we first started out. George here was one of the people that I was that I lived with for a few years, and too bad he's not with us. He was a great person to be with, and he knows what I know about this here stuff. So he's been a good friend of mine. And Marianne Crowley as well. She's been working hard on that as well, and myself and Persimmon,
yeah,
as well, worked on this at the beginning, and so we continued on, and it was a fantastic thing that we started, and I wanted to continue this because it's nice to let the people know in the public what it was like for not send their daughter or son there at all.
Yeah, to Woodlands, right?
To Woodlands.
Yeah.
And it was, I'm happy that it was closed. And so we were very happy to be the first province to close our institutions. And I'm very happy about that.
Richard, when did you first go to Woodlands?
I went in on February 9th, 1952. And I stayed at Woodlands from 52 to 62. Then in 62, I was transferred up to Tronquil, which is in Kamloops. And that was 12 miles west of Kamloops itself. And then in 1967, there was a Centennial train that went through. And so we went to tour the Centennial train in Kamloops at the time.
Yeah, that memory is really powerful for you in regards to that train.
Yes.
I remember you telling me that. What are some of your other memories from Woodlands or Tronquil?
Yeah, the memories of Woodlands, we had these pet plates that you see here, and all this stuff that was used in the kitchen, and they're non-breakable, so if they fall on the floor, they won't break.
Yeah, you were telling me they were always green. All these plates were always green.
Yes.
Yeah. And you were also telling me about the food too.
Most of the time, the food wasn't that great.
Yeah. It was nice to go home to your parents.
Yes.
Yeah.
On weekends until I couldn't wait until the weekends to go to mom and dad and have a proper meal.
Mm-hmm. So you were in Woodlands, then you were in Trunkiel, and then you moved to Powell River.
Yes.
Yeah. Where did you first move when you moved into Powell River?
I moved into a place. It was Seaview Guest Home, and it was 7 miles west of Fall River itself.
And it was a group home, right?
It was a group home.
Yeah.
There was 36 of us, and there was one woman that worked there, was a good friend of mine, which I did not know, that she, when I was a kid, she came to babysit me.
Nice. Right. But so after you were in that group home, where else did you move in Powell River, and who did you move with?
I moved, George and I, the boss of the group home was away on holidays. Both husband and wife were away. And so George and I decided to move out. And so a friend did come and move us. And when they came back, we were gone.
Yeah. And I understand that George was a pretty good roommate.
He was very good.
All right. Do we want to end up moving around here, and we're going to go look at one of the other panels?
Okay.
All right. So now Richard and I are standing in front of this bright green panel, and it's all about language. And Richard, tell us a little bit about why, what's so important to you in regards to plain language?
Plain language is better than people would have different languages, and they would speak different languages, and so we didn't understand them. So that's why we decided to have everything plain language.
Plain language, right? Like, so sometimes I think about the way a doctor talks is not plain language, right? Or the way lawyers talk are not plain language, right? So sometimes it's just the way that we end up saying things so that then everybody can end up understanding, right? Yeah. I know plain language is so important to so many of my friends. So do we want to go to this other board here that's all in orange? And it's got a couple of images from the demolition of Woodlands. And Richard, were you there when this demolition happened?
Yes, I was there. I was even they had me speaking at the time, and I called up four of my friends that were there at the time, and so we all came up together, and I said, okay, guys, take her down. So they started taking that down.
What did that feel like for you?
That felt good, because I every time I went by on the sky train, I would look up and there it was. And so I said, one of these days that's going to be coming down.
So your dream came true.
Yes.
All right. So when you were at Woodlands, did you know about the cemetery that was there?
Yes.
Yeah. And how did that make you feel that there was a cemetery there?
Didn't feel not too good about it, because some staff would actually take some stones and put the headstones in the driveways, and some of them would make headstones into barbecues and stuff like that. So it wasn't that pleasure.
Yeah, and they were finding those headstones in lots of different places.
Yes, they were.
Even now, there's been some that are found just last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I understand that you were there when they first found, like this image here, when you first found some of the headstones from the decommissioned cemetery. What did that feel like when those were first found for you?
I said, hey, happy that we have found them, because one of them were missing, so we didn't think that it would be missing. Well, by the way, there was a plane that was in the area too that we had a plane that did not work.
Oh, an airplane that ended up
Yeah.
not working. So you ended up talking about, so you found these headstones,
Yes.
but then you also ended up talking about how there on the grounds, they even used some of these headstones for a patio for the
Yes.
staff to eat at.
Yes.
Some of these headstones ended up going back to people's homes to be used as decorative pieces, maybe in driveways and gardens
Yes.
and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you and I have talked about sort of the disrespect of all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Richard, when you think about people living in institutions in Canada today, what's your message that you have to the rest of society, to the rest of people?
Message is, do not let the government reopen these institutions because they are no good for the people that have disabilities, because they have a right to be with people that live in the community. If they don't take part in if they don't take part in the community, then why should they live? So this is why we should be all friends and tell the community that these places are not worth living in, because there's plenty of abuse and everything else, and even I've seen a person, one of the staff, and they didn't get charged for it, but one person put a person into a real hot, scalding hot water in the tub, and so that person was severely burnt.
That must have been really hard to see.
That was hard to see.
Yeah. So Richard, what's life like for you now?
Now I'm very happy with the community because I can get out and do things. I can buy stuff that I want, and plus I can let other people know what this place is like for us. So that's the only way that I express my thoughts from the past.
All right. Well, thank you, Richard. Do you want to end up introducing the next speaker?
Now I would like to introduce David, and he is going to speak with his machine that he's got, and so he'll be able to explain. That's one other way that he can talk. Okay, David, take it away.
All right. Hello, David.
Hello, my name is David, the first video game and writing stories and watch TV. I use communication device to talk.
All right, David, I just want to know a little bit about the device you're using and how it has helped you to express yourself.
Help. Me. To talk. And. Express. Mile. To. Feeling. Feelings. It has helped me to talk and express my feelings. And. Builds. And. Foster. Friend. S. H-I-P, friendship. N. B. I. A. L. L. O. W. Allow. M. E. Me. B. T. O. 2. E. O. E. B. I. N. D. E. P. E. It has helped me to talk and N. D. R. E. N. T. It has helped me to talk and express my feelings and hopes and foster friendship and allow me to be independent.
I love this. Thank you, David. This is amazing. And I'm really lucky because I was able to actually meet David. But for all of you who might and hopefully come down to see the exhibition, you can not meet David in person, which is a real shame, but we have him at least here as a poster. You can read about this amazing young man. Thank you, David. And now we'll move on to another part of the exhibition, and there's Tina again.
Here I am again. I wanted to end up pointing out this particular part of the exhibit. There are many newspaper clippings from different parts of time that are in here. Some of them are difficult to read.
Hi Tina, how are you?
That's about sterilization, but then there's also some joyful things in regards to that. Finally, people labeled with a disability have the right to vote. And so if you can end up taking some time when you come down here to read through them, they're fantastic. What I also found uplifting and saddening was some of the language that is being used in there that I will not say out loud because I know how hurtful it would end up being to friends, but I think it's an amazing learning opportunity for people. And one of the headlines right here is everyone has value, which is 100% correct. So please come down, take a look inside of all the drawers and learn a little bit. Thank you.
And I think that leads really nicely. Just quickly show you some parts of our exhibition that everyone has value and enriches our community. Here is an amazing oil painting of It's Woodlands by James Leash. I was again really lucky that I was able that James came here and presented gave us this painting that we could hang up and feature in the exhibition. And it was great to hear about his story, how he, came out of Woodlands eventually and then drew this amazing painting. Then we have another piece of artwork from Kimberly. We talk a little bit about housing, employment, the times before an iPad, similar story as an iPad to communicate. So all this, and now we move on to another incredible individual who's also featured here in our exhibition because history and the present is all about individuals. And you can come, again, not in person, but you come down here and you see Ayat and you can read about her story. And it's really nice because we also have her on the video, so you can actually listen to her. But now we have Ayat here in person and she's gonna play for us. And I tell you what, she is amazing. Ayat, take it away.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
All right, thank you, Ed. That was wonderful. This is pretty much the end of our exhibition. I really urge you to come down and see it. We have many, many visitors already had, and what is really lovely is we ask everyone to leave a message here. And for me, it is so encouraging. The words that are left by visitors to this exhibition, it just shows us that this is the right way, moving into the community, the way of inclusion. That's the way to go. And now, I hope I see you one day down here in the exhibition. I thank everyone. I thank you, Richard. I thank you, David. Thank you, Ayat. Thank you, Tina. And now back to you, Carla.
Happy New Year.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was absolutely amazing. But I think it's Linda who's going to speak next.
That's right. I'd like to say thank you to Marcus, Richard, Ayat, and David for sharing your wisdom, talents, and stories with us today. Your stories are so inspiring, and we hope everyone listening today has been enlightened by what they've learned from all of you. It is too often only through the voice of former residents, their families, and community organizations that support the journey to community that this story is told and kept alive. As time passes and storytellers age, there is great concern that this history will be lost. This exhibition seeks to educate the public about this history and these stories so it can live on through those who visit. We encourage everyone listening today to come out to the Port Moody Museum to check out the exhibit and for all of you to tell your friends and family so they can visit too. The exhibit is now open to the public and will be open until the summer of 2022, so there's plenty of time. The more people who walk through the exhibit, the greater the opportunity there is for this history to live on and be told to new generations. Thank you.
As a call to action today on December 3rd, International Day of Persons with Disabilities, Inclusion BC has asked our provincial government to embed the truth of institutionalization, past and present, into our public education system. This is an important piece of history that should be taught to all in British Columbia as part of our collective effort to unpack the colonial impact of our province on racialized and marginalized people. And it needs to be anchored within our public education system in order to collectively shift our attitudes and truly influence dominant culture. BC became the first province in Canada to close all of its large institutions for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Now, let's be the first province to honor that journey and make it part of our collective learning experience. Please support us by asking your school principals, your school districts, your MLA, or author a letter to the entire list. Inclusion BC has submitted a written request to the Premier and Minister Whiteside with the Ministry of Education to support this call to action. We've shared a copy of the letter in the chat, and feel free to reach out to us and we can share it by email as well. As we wrap up the 8 days of action and our friends at BC People First and BC Ed Access rally at the Art Gallery this afternoon, this is our call to action. And I do truly hope next year we'll be celebrating our collective success. Thank you for joining us for this learning opportunity. If you would like to share this session with your friends and colleagues, the recording will be available on Inclusion BC's virtual learning series site in a couple of weeks. You can find all these attachments and links in our chat. And we will announce on social media following on Facebook and Twitter. So on that note, happy International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Thank you for everyone that brought this afternoon together, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone.